I got married to my high school sweetheart. We got divorced, and then I got remarried. And with that ex-wife, we bought a home together when we were married, right? But things didn't go well, so we ended up getting a divorce, and I filed bankruptcy because I was
With the high school sweetheart.
no. This is the second marriage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so I was in debt to over my head, Robert. My credit was ruined. I had like 450 credit score, so I had to file bankruptcy when I got divorced. But 4 years after that divorce, Robert, I was able to build up my credit, save up some cash, and buy that next home in 2014.
You kept on the grind. You knew
Never
your
give up.
instincts, and we say you needed that pad to live in.
Yes,
And might as well own it. And that was the key that kind of kept both, and your wife now having that same mindset where she knew I got to have a pad.
yes. But let me back up a little bit. That divorce was really tough on me, Robert. And I just have to mention, it was so bad that I almost ended my life. I really did. I was sitting in my bedroom at the house that we bought together, right? My ex-wife and I, that I had to file bankruptcy when we got divorced. I was sitting in my bedroom by myself, and I had my finger on the trigger. And thank you, God, for helping me that night and for me to still be here so that I can share my knowledge and try to help people change their lives in every single way if I can. That I think I know why I've been put on this earth is to share my knowledge, to learn, share my knowledge, and help people get out of their current situation that they're in now.
Yeah, and get out of their comfort zone.
Yes.
Know that getting up every day, that's the blessing. Going to work, and just
Absolutely.
there's always good will always prevail over evil. That's amazing.
I agree. So, just I wanted to touch base on that because what the situations that we go through, guys, and every moment we can learn from. Every situation we learn from, right? Whether it's good, bad, but remember, when it's always good, you don't learn anything. But when it's bad and you fail, you definitely learn something. So even if you're out there grinding and trying different things and you fail, guys, don't take it as a negative thing. Take it out as a positive thing that you're learning what not to do next time, and it's going to set you up for that success later.
Yes. So you basically had two options: get on the grind,
Yes.
as we say,
Get on the grind.
or or the other option was just
Give up.
Give up.
No. And thank God that I didn't give up, Robert, because I wouldn't have the great children that I have now. I wouldn't have the great relationship that I have now, and I wouldn't be able to sit on this broadcast here, sharing my knowledge, sharing my story in hopes and to help somebody and influence somebody to think outside the box so that they can make a difference in their lives, so that they can make differences in other people's lives and their families' lives as well.
Yeah, that's it. And what you bring to the table and your knowledge that you've gained with being an investor, being able to build up so many units in a short amount of time. And it all started with you basically saying, you know what, from the sounds of it, is I'm either going to give up or get back on the grind.
So 4 years later, after the bankruptcy, I was able to build up my credit and save up a down payment through my job that I've had since since I was been 25 years old, or I'm sorry, 29 years old. So just doing that, guys, I was able to qualify for a loan and buy that house in 2014, which I didn't know that it was going to make such a huge difference in my life in the future because it's now a rental. I've pulled out money out of that home, Robert, right?
Yep.
We call that an infinite return, where you have no more of your own money in the deal because you refinance, but you're still cash flowing. And like I've always said, you always refinance and pull out money when it makes sense, right? When financially, when it makes sense financially.
Yep. Getting to and building on that, the technical side of that, you mentioned 4 years after the bankruptcy. I wonder why you said 4 years. It sounds like you did a little homework when it came to what it takes to get that borrowed money, that minimum down, a foot in the door, a little stake in the game.
So that 4 years, it was all about finding myself again, rebuilding my credit, saving, finding myself, guys, because after going through a divorce like that and bankruptcy, it's really tough to get your head back in the game. But sometimes we just need to sit back and put things on paper and make sure that we make the right decisions from this point forward. They're not always going to be right and the best decisions, but you know what? Just put it on paper and try to distinguish right from wrong, guys, because it's so easy to make a mistake no matter what.
And that tech talk every 2 years after the discharge of a bankruptcy, it's, just opens even more doors when it comes to, we talk about the borrowed money side. How do we, from first time home buyers to where what Raymond's able to do now, and where my story kind of put me a little behind you right now, but very similar.
Yeah.
Very.
So we have a lot. I have a lot more to talk about, but why don't we get into the?
Well, let's cap off your
okay.
story, because the rest is just history. Is bam, you got that first pad, knowing you had to do that. Then you met your amazing wife.
Yeah. So I'm grinding, right?
Okay.
I'm a truck driver by trade, and I've been with my company almost 20 years. So we deliver food to different establishments, restaurants, hospitals, and prisons. Wherever you can find a kitchen is where my company gets in there and creates an account and starts delivering, right? So my wife, a waitress for about 15 years when I met her at the same restaurant, 15 years being a waitress there, right? And no hopes of owning it one day. So
Never even thinking about it. You're saying you never even thought about it.
No, she never thought about it. I never thought about it, but here I come, little old me delivering groceries to this restaurant, and man, lo and behold, wow, I see this beautiful woman standing there with a beautiful smile, and I thought to myself, I'm gonna make this woman mine. but anyways, so she was so kind, and she offered me a cup of coffee. It was cold that day, and little by little we got to know each other, and I ended up marrying this woman who is my wife now, and I love her so much. Love you, Alma Aquino. And,
the definition of a power couple.
Yes. So when we met, she had a house also, but the difference between her and I, she actually saved up for 3 years, all her tips and her hourly wages to buy this house cash in 2011, and that's amazing, dude. She was able to save up $57,000, buy it cash, and still have $10,000 more cash to renovate it.
Wow, exactly. So she knew she had to fix it up. She saved up a certain amount of cash,
yes,
and said, okay, I can do that. And
she's amazing.
And she opened the door to where she didn't even need borrowed money.
She didn't
and she got the deal at the time.
Yes.
Wow.
It was amazing, right? So that house has a significant role in our venture in real estate investing. Because
yes, I know
remember
about that. Yeah, because that's kind of when you kind of got to a certain point with properties and using the system.
Yep.
You needed a certain amount. You needed some buying power.
So, what changed my mindset, Robert, was reading that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Mm-hmm. I recommend it. It's a great numbers book. It's an accounting book, right? It just made me think outside the box and how to use debt to my advantage. Now, what we did was the way I educated myself and what videos I looked for on YouTube was how to invest in rentals and how to use leverage. So that's exactly what we did with my wife's property. We ended up refinancing that property, and when rates were the lowest, I got.
Yeah, he didn't do this at first.
Okay.
This wasn't part of our original restructuring.
No, not the original, but we did.
And when we restructured it, we're like, there's going to be a time when this property is going to come into play, and you were like, okay, well, it was.
Yeah, I didn't know, right?
And so go ahead. Yeah,
I didn't realize that house that I bought in 2014 was going to play a role.
Both of those houses were so crucial.
So just knowing this, Robert, right now in my mind, is buy now when it makes sense, whenever you can.
If you can pull it off to afford it.
Pull it off to afford it, baby.
Some of our sayings like, hey, when's the age-old question, when's the best time to buy? Whenever you can pull it off.
Yes.
Whenever you could pull it off and afford it and make it happen. The first-time home buyers who are buying now in the market, competing against investors who are even bigger than Raymond out there, well, when they get their pad, when the market shifts and rates start tanking in the future, one day, who knows? Well, that's when you have there. When people look back and go, how do you have that payment? You know, how'd you get such a low